The firm of Goldman Sachs is a high-profile survivor of the recent carnage on Wall Street, thanks in large part to a $5 billion investment by Warren Buffett. An inside look at the firm's trademark corporate culture is tonight's Weekend Journal. On a street obsessed with money and power, Goldman Sachs, with more than $150 billion in assets, is the powerhouse. And employees that leave the legendary investment bank go on to powerful positions. Goldman Sachs alumni include Robert Rubin, former Treasury Secretary and now Director of Citigroup, Joshua Bolten, current White House Chief of Staff, New Jersey Governor John Corzine, and, of course, the duo making news right now, Treasury Secretary Henry Paulson and 35-year-old Neel Kashkari, appointed by Paulson to head the $700 billion rescue plan. Charles Ellis, a longtime strategic consultant to Goldman Sachs, wrote a book about the company that came out this week.
There's a very specific culture and ethos to Goldman Sachs. Having been a part of that for 30 years, how do you describe that?
Intense, absolute priority, total commitment. It's a ferociously intensive way for people of great talent to be deeply committed to doing something that they believe is going to be spectacular in the long run.
Spectacular expectations for spectacular salaries, some of which employees are asked to give back in the form of personal philanthropy.
What is the commitment to public service?
They are trained to it. When you first join that firm, you will be taken aside and told, here at Goldman Sachs, we all make a commitment. Your commitment is yours, whatever you want, but each of us makes commitment to some philanthropic purposes.
The company, which barely survived the Wall Street crash of 1929, converted itself into a traditional bank holding company last month, bringing an end to the era of giant investment banks. But with Paulson and Kashkari now taking the helm of the $700 billion plan, the question still arises whether Wall Street is best overseen by two of its own.
This would be like making the chairman of ExxonMobil Secretary of the Department of Energy.
Ellis disagrees.
You need all that, you need a real insider. And so getting people who have been inside Wall Street is, I think, smart play.
Kashkari's meteoric rise, 6 years out of business school, has also raised some concerns.
Was I surprised to find out how young he is? Yes. Was I surprised to find how few years of experience he's had? Yes. Do I think that he was chosen because he's really good at the work? Yeah, I really do.
For his part, Neel Kashkari says he's hired outside firms to draw up guidelines for selecting asset managers and for drafting guidelines on stock purchases. He told an international banking group this week that the program will be, quote, strong, decisive, and effective.